Hello, this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. I want to thank everyone for subscribing. This channel has grown tremendously, quickly, and there's a lot of great opinions out there. And I like sharing mine with yours and seeing what you guys have to say. One of the things I like to say is we're all men going our own way. We all have our own ideas. We like to talk about them. You know, one of the things I don't like, though, is labels. If you want to criticize the concepts, criticize them. But, you know, just calling someone derogatory names right off the bat, to me that sounds a little bit like control. So I always tell everybody, when you talk to me, watch how you talk to me, and I'll try and have the same courtesy and respect for them. Labels, labels, labels. One of the tricks the feminists use, and they've tricked men into using name calling because we're not allowed to throw down dukes anymore. But this channel is about the arena of ideas, and that's what we're going to talk about today, are some ideas. You know, a lot of the MGTOW video producers like to talk about how they're going to look out for themselves. You know, and it's a good plan. It's a good idea to work out how to take care of yourself. You know, if you can't handle yourself, how can you deal with the bigger picture? What I've got on this tremendous board here is the bigger picture. And it's going to be kind of hard to see because I started thinking about the problem we face as men. And it can't be summed up in one video. And it can't be summed up in one large picture. So I'm going to start at the top and we're going to go all the way to the bottom. And this is the history of the world right up to where we're at now as men see it. So let's start way at the top with the world. Right up here, that's the world. Okay? We've got to deal with survival as men. So we got shelter, food, protection. I got dollar signs up there, but that means resources. The things that we find valuable. Things that we need to survive, to live comfortably. And as men, we conquer the world. Man conquers the world, and everyone knows that. Men are still trying to conquer the world. They've never given up on that. They conquer as much as they can. And when you win, man gets food, shelter, resources, money, clothing, and sex. That's what we get. That's what we have the opportunity to get when we conquer, when we win, when we do what men do. Okay? So that's happened for thousands of years and tens of thousands of years. Men conquer. They conquered the animals and kicked them out of the caves, and those early men took the caves. Caveman. Man conquered his neighbors in war, and those became his conquests, and he built towns, he built cities, he built civilization on the philosophy of the need to conquer and then the need to cooperate. And that brings us to a very, very important part of this. Man wants to keep what he has earned. What he has conquered, man wants to keep. There's so much conquering a man does, and then a man also wants peace in his life. This is a common complaint that MGTOW have, is they want peace. They may not use that exact word, but they don't want all the bitching and griping and having to explain themselves all the time to loud, obnoxious, feminist women. So man wants peace. Man wants to keep what he has earned. So in order to do that, he has created various types of government. Governments that have laws and rules to help people get along and understand each other. Kind of a unified philosophy of living. So in order to keep what he has conquered and to live comfortably and peacefully as he can, man created government. And after man conquers and creates this government, and we get all the way up to the United States, the best form of government, the U.S. Constitution ever created, it didn't say that the king was free. It said everyone was free. It didn't say that the king gets to keep what is his, but every man gets to keep what is his, what he has earned, what he has conquered. So man created government. And then women, after that, demanded equality, a fair share. I've taken us right up in world history to the equal rights movement, which started way back in the 1800s. Okay? Way back then, women have been getting the right to vote, the right to own property, the right to this, the right to that, and they demand the right to everything. It's a man's world, and women want it. Woman declares war, the battle of the sexes. You're all familiar with the battle of the sexes. There was a tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs in the 70s. But that was just a game that was played for show, and of course the woman won, early form of propaganda. But the battle of the sexes have been going on from the very beginning of time. Back when man was conquering, he used his brains and his brawn to conquer, and women were part of the prize. Way up there. And man has kept his prize until now, until the battle of the sexes started, when they got equal rights. Did the women want to live in peace? No. Did the women want to go out and conquer on their own? No. They wanted to be given everything. Given everything. Entitlement. Why? Because women have always been given everything. There's nothing new there. But now they want to do it without having to perform, having to work for it. And so on this battle of the sexes, there is a battlefield. And this is where men have not realized the gravity of the shit they face. And MGTOW and MGTOW video makers have done a great job of bringing out all the various areas in which women get away with stealing men's resources, their time, their private selves. So on the battlefield we have feminazi strategy. Feminazi strategy. Just like Hitler, who attacked on two fronts. He attacked the English and the Americans in the west, and he went after Russia in the east, and he actually was fighting in Africa in the south. 3 fronts. The feminazis that we're dealing with also have a multi-pronged blitzkrieg attack on men. They weren't happy with settling with just one attack. They went after us on every front. Okay, pincher attack. Outflanking us. Rolling up through the middle. So let's take a look at the ways in which they've done it. They've used government. Government, which man created way up here, forms of government, so that he could keep what he has earned. He created government, man did. And woman, one of the first things they did when they got the right to vote, they started using government to get what they want from us. They created laws special for women, to prefer women and give women special rights and privileges. And all it has done is fostered their entitlement mentality. Courts. Courts interpret the laws. They even make up their own rules. They ignore rules. If you're a man and you go to court, you think you've got equal rights? Forget it. It's over. So government was number one. Women got the right to vote. They got the right to have property, and then they started taking our stuff, using laws and courts, stealing men's efforts. That is what occurred there. Then we look over at entertainment, another front on the battlefield, another front on which the feminazis use their strategy. Propaganda. That is done through movies, television, radio, books, everything they can that gets into people's minds. Their entertainment has propaganda in it. Inside that same entertainment, social pressure is developed for men to conform and give in to women's wants. You can't escape it. It is all around us. This entertainment creates false expectations by women, and they put them on men. So through entertainment, we have propaganda, social pressure, false expectations, and also emulation. Women emulate the tough girl, the smart girl, the clever girl. Everything they see in media, music, they re-sing the songs. Movies, they act like they are men because men conquer and women are now conquering. The battlefield has to do with entertainment. So they emulate their entertainment stars. And they do not back up. Women are never wrong now that they're empowered. And men give in. So men get their efforts stolen by government. And men give in to the pressures created in the entertainment industry. If you look over at professional industry, the workplace, yet another front on which the feminazi strategy is brought to the battlefield. Women have invaded the man's workplace. Invaded it. They think that they should be in our workplace wherever they see fit. And, you know, hey, equal rights, we're all free. But they don't compete freely. They are selfish. Women have selfishness in the professional workplace. They bring their stuff, their drama, their attitude, and make everyone else have to deal with it. Because they're selfish, just like they are everywhere else. These feminist women are very selfish. And they push for what they want. They demand equality, meaning equal pay for unequal work. That's right. They say they want equal pay for equal work, but women have lower production on average. Much lower production. And I've challenged people before. Look at what women are doing at their desks. I get sick every day at work looking at women surfing, Facebook, Candy Crusher, everything internet at work. They are not very productive. And so as a result of women getting into the workplace and flooding the workplace with excessive workers, their selfish attitude, their demand for equality, and lower production means that men who want to work are now underpaid because of the glut of workers in the professional industry. So it used to be that it was just men that worked, for the most part. And I'm sure I'm going to hear about this. Women have always worked, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. This isn't about women and what they think I should be talking about. Women in the workplace. We're not talking about just secretaries. We're talking about the man's world. And so women started working, and it raised the cost of everything, the expense of everything. So now we went from one income to keep a household going to two incomes. And now everyone has to work because men are underpaid due to the lower production. The demand for equality by women, the same pay, even though they're not doing the same work. Selfishness, bringing their personal lives into work. Just the general invasion. And another front, we're fighting the feminazis, the feminists on the battlefield. Social. Men are required by social standards to give in to women. They're softer, they cry, they whine, they guilt, they shame. Guilt and shame. Men give in because of social pressure. Right? I shouldn't be talking about this. It's rude of me to point all this out. It's rude of me to have an opinion. I shouldn't even be breathing. I'm white. I'm a male. I have patriarchy on my side. I shouldn't even have a voice anymore. I'm probably a racist and a misogynist. No, I'm a realist and a practicalist. Okay? It's a man's world. We conquered it. We created it. We created government. We've created everything. Men. Women had it made until they decided to leave the house and then start demanding men pay for their new ways to go. So, social pressures. Men are now eunuchs. You're not allowed to be a man. We're all the same. We're all equal. Think about how much you hear that every day. You don't get to talk about yourself as a man. You have to be a person, or a co-worker, or a team member. No, I'm a man. That's how I see it. That's how I call it. Gynocentrism in the social structure, the social sphere. Gynocentrism. That means everything goes around the woman. Everything is built around the woman. I deal with hypocrisy by women on a daily basis in my professional life and in my social life. Everything has to be about the women. If they're cold, we turn the heat up. If it's too hot, we turn on the air conditioner. You're driving too fast, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's always about the women. Always gynocentrism. That's what they push for. Tell them no. Men serve women through all of this. Guilt, shame, being turned into eunuchs, having your dicks cut off. You can't call yourself a man. Gynocentrism. And just giving in. Men serve women now. And women have had this for so long now, there's an expectation on their part for us to serve them. And when you stand up and say, hey, bitches, I have the penis, that triggers them. It triggers them. You know, it triggers them into a fit, a little psychological tantrum they love to throw. And that's when I discovered, years and years ago, way before the MGTOW movement went onto the internet, I discovered for myself years ago how to trigger women and use that to battle them. I'm not making this shit up today in the last few weeks. This is for you MGTOW guys that like to argue that I'm a trad con or any other names you have. You guys can stuff it. I am a man. I've gone my own way and have for years and years and discovered all of this years and years ago. I just feel like sharing it now. Men serve women because women have an expectation of being served by men. It is a messed up system that's been developed. So let's take a look what happened. The courts, the media, education. The education system favors women. Social indoctrination are used as strategy to take man's prize. That is his ownership, his dominion, his control of the world in which he lives. That is what the feminazi strategy on the battlefield is to do. They're winning battles against us, and they want to win the war. They want to win the war. And how do women know when they win the war? When men are no longer men. When men are totally and 100% subjugated to the will of women. And we are close to it. We are so close that men are now revolting. Because most men didn't know they were on the battlefield. They just thought they were living their lives. But this battle of the sexes started way back. Way back when women started demanding equality, it became a battle for the control of everything. Because they became competitive. Competitive with us. Because they considered themselves on equal footing. But they always fall back to the courts and demand special rights with special laws. And they use our government against us. It's a divide and conquer scheme. It uses men's pity for women. Men's soft hearts for women. That's what they use against us. They use our own principles against us. Now, a good part of MGTOW has been to stop giving in to women. Stop letting them have their way. Stop letting them have our resources. Stop letting them walk over us. But they are doing it, a lot of them, on an individual basis. I believe this war, we need to have a counter strategy for MGTOW. Men going their own way. Whatever way it is, it should be your way. But there should be a strategy. The same way in World War II, there was a strategy from the Soviet Union. There was a strategy from France, from England, from the United States. They all had different strategies. The goal was the same. The destruction of the feminazis. The goal is the same for us today. It's the destruction of this filthy system which subjugates men and seeks to destroy and conquer us and make us their slaves. They want everything on the other foot. They want man to do all the work and have none of the prize. That's what they want. That's what they want. So how do we look at doing this? How can we as men, independently and individually, look at a counter strategy? There's several different ways that we need to strike back. Let's see, can we see that all right? There we are. Court exposure. Number one, reduce your court exposure. MGTOW are doing that now by not marrying women and not having children with them, either in or out of wedlock, meaning marriage. Number two, repudiate the propaganda. Stop letting the propaganda stand. When you see propaganda, guys, we've got to point it out and point out how wrong it is. Just shutting your eyes or keeping your mouth shut or walking away and not confronting these harlots, these feminist harlots that run around and steal your shit and my shit and everyone's shit, because no one's repudiating them. No one's fighting back. We need to repudiate the propaganda, the lies. We need to recognize and accept what has gone on. As men, we need to recognize how we're being used. MGTOW and the MGTOW movement has gone a great length across the fruited plains here. The men's rights movement, everybody that isn't, that is against, everyone that's being fought by the feminazis are allies, the same way the Soviet Union was allies with the United States to fight Hitler. Now, afterwards, right after World War II, the United States and the Soviets decided they didn't want to be friends anymore. So MGTOW, you need to look to men's rights, and men's rights needs to look to MGTOW, and male chauvinists need to find a team to play with. We need to unify the best we can in strategy, not necessarily in groups, but in strategy. You need to take action or else slavery is going to be what we get. We need to take action. How do you do that? You have to do what you can with what you feel comfortable with. I feel very comfortable jumping in the middle of women's shit. Very comfortable doing that. I feel very comfortable jumping in their shit. Oh boy, there we are. Okay, I am not afraid of these women. I'm not afraid of feminists. I'm not afraid of their philosophy. I'm not afraid to tell them what I think. I'm not afraid to tell them what they think is wrong and then use the evidence I have to point out exactly how they are wrong. As I said earlier, I'm not new to this game. I've been fighting these people forever, since the first time I heard the word politically incorrect, which was the early 90s. I did not like women in the Marine Corps. I do not like women in the workplace. But it's part of our culture. Does that mean I have to like it? No. That's part of the propaganda, is I have to like the way it is. When you're told you have to like the way it is, then you're not allowed to ask for change. You, men, are allowed to ask for change as much as women are. Push back on them. Push back. I just fought hypocrisy the other day. I saw a picture of a man pinned to a wall in a woman's workstation. And I got it taken down. The war cry was, "Oh, just grow up." And my answer was, "Bullshit, you little hypocrite. That's not how this fucking game works. If I can't have a calendar with Makita girls on it, you don't get to have a picture of any man. Period." And I fight back with them. I give them a taste of their own medicine. I point out how wrong their philosophies are. I do not do their work for them. And sometimes I like to get the door for them. And I make sure they understand that I'm a man and that the reason I did it was because I am a man. They'll say something like, geez, you didn't have to do that. And I'll say something like, well, I'm a man and that's what I do. I don't apologize for who I am. I don't make excuses for who I am. I am what I am. I have the penis. I am what I am. You, everyone with a penis needs to start standing up to these wenches. MGTOW, go your own way. Yes, please watch all the videos that say, quit giving your money, quit falling for the tricks, learn their tricks, learn what they're doing, learn how they do it, learn how they're attention whores, learn how they steal your money and try and get free dinners, learn how they use sex, learn how they take sex away. Learn all of that. Because women learned it when they were 5. They started learning this shit when they were 5. We played cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians in war. We learned how to play by the rules. Women learned social games and how to break the rules and get away with it and how to ask for special privileges. I'm just a girl. There is a battle going on, and it's not just in my life individually. I'm not the only guy out here facing this shit. All of you are as well. You need to remember that you're the man. That what you did, your member of the species, your sex, the male sex, dominated this world, brought it under subjugation, created government, made this world what it is, and now it's being stolen and destroyed by feminist think, by feminist ideology, by feminist Marxism. And we need to stop it before they absolutely destroy everything. And for those who are selfish and say, they love to say, I don't care if the society crashes and crumbles. That's selfish for one, and that's fine. If that's how you want to be, fine. But it's not going to last to the other end of your lifetime. It's going to crumble long before then. So you better be some kind of crazy prepper if you think you're going to survive shit hitting the fan when these feminists contribute to the collapse of our social and government, economic, and infrastructure. Everything is going to come crashing down at some point. And feminist ideology is one of the key legs that is going to do it. So I'm telling you now, men, we need to start acting like men. We need to quit giving in to these women. We need to meet them on the battlefield of ideas and backbone and balls. When I look in the mirror every morning, I say, I have the penis. I'm the man. And I go out and I conquer every day. And every time I face an adversary, a competitor, I win. I win. I put myself in the position to win, and I make no apologies for it. You men need to start acting like men. Stop apologizing for being as fucking awesome as you are. Stop giving in to women who are not awesome. We are the, we conquer, we make it. They are the booty. They're the prize, right? We are men. We are what gets it done. We have the value. You can find women anywhere. Stop giving in to them. All right. It's enough of this. I'm going to wish you guys a good day. I'm going to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Watch my other videos. Comment, like, donate, hit sponsors. I don't care. Just have a great day. What's up, man?
Not much.